The sky above New York split apart like a wounded god. Not with thunder, not with magic, but with something far older, far more violent. A tear in reality ripped open above the city, glowing with the sickly blue of the warp. Civilians screamed as gravity twisted, cars lifted from the streets, and the air itself burned. Then something fell. It did not scream. It did not panic. It descended like judgment. A massive armored figure slammed into the concrete of Manhattan with the force of a meteor, cracking the street for meters in every direction. Smoke and dust filled the air. When it cleared, the figure stood, over 8 feet tall, encased in ceramite and adamantium. A walking tank bearing the sigil of the Imperium of Man. A space marine. Not a hero. Not a villain. But a weapon. His autosensors scanned the environment instantly. Atmospheric composition. Threat vectors. Energy signatures. Population density. Unknown Xenos world detected. His power armor hummed as he rose to full height, bolter already locked in his grip. To him, this world was not Earth. It was an unclassified combat zone, and the Emperor demanded compliance. Within minutes, SHIELD satellites locked onto the anomaly. Nick Fury watched the live feed in silence as the armored giant walked through the streets like a war god from humanity's forgotten past. Bullets from local police bounced harmlessly off his armor. One officer fired again. The Space Marine turned. A single bolt round detonated the squad car behind them, not aimed to kill, but to warn. Fury exhaled slowly. "This isn't an alien invasion," he muttered. "This is a soldier." The Avengers were mobilized immediately. Captain America arrived first. Steve Rogers stepped into the Marine's path, shield raised but posture calm. He saw discipline in the way the giant moved. Purpose. Training beyond anything modern Earth had ever produced. "You don't have to do this," Steve said. "Tell us who you are." The Space Marine stopped. His Vox grill crackled. "I am Adeptus Astartes, gene-forged servant of the Emperor of Mankind. You are unregistered baseline humans. Submit to Imperial authority." Steve frowned. "Yeah, that's not happening." For a brief moment, just a fraction of a second, the Marine assessed him. Enhanced physiology. Elevated combat potential. Primitive armor. Not Astartes level. The Marine advanced. Steve charged. What followed was not a fight. It was a demonstration of what 10,000 years of warfare looked like. Captain America's shield absorbed blow after blow, each strike from the Space Marine's power fist sending shockwaves through the street. Steve was stronger, faster than any normal human, but this wasn't a normal enemy. The Marine grabbed the shield mid-swing and threw Steve through a bus. "Hostile combatant neutralized," the Marine stated coldly. Then Iron Man arrived. Repulsor fire slammed into the Marine's chest, forcing him back half a step. Tony Stark hovered above, scanners screaming. "What the hell are you made of?" Tony muttered. The Space Marine raised his bolter and fired. Iron Man dodged, but the explosive rounds detonated midair, shredding his armor plating. Tony barely stabilized. This wasn't alien tech. It was brutal, efficient, perfected through endless war. Thor descended next. Mjolnir struck the Marine square in the chest. For the first time, the Space Marine staggered. Lightning surged across his armor. Systems overloaded momentarily. The Marine looked up at Thor. "Warp-based entity detected," he said. "Threat level, extreme." Thor smiled grimly. Finally, a warrior. Their clash shook the city. Hammer against power sword. Lightning against adamantium. Each strike echoed like thunder. Thor was stronger, but the Marine was relentless. Every movement was calculated. Every strike aimed to kill. But then the Marine made a mistake. He hesitated, because something spoke to him. A presence pressed against his mind. Not warp-born. Not chaos. Something else. A voice filled with rage and pain. The Hulk. The green behemoth leapt from the skyline and crashed into the Space Marine like a living missile. They slammed through 3 buildings before stopping. The Marine rose first. Hulk roared. They collided again. This was no contest of skill. It was raw, apocalyptic violence. The Marine's armor cracked under Hulk's blows, ceramite fracturing. Bones broke, but then knitted back together. Laraman cells activated. Pain suppressors flooded his system. He stabbed Hulk with his combat blade. It barely slowed him. Hulk grabbed the Marine and smashed him into the ground again and again. For the first time since arriving, the Space Marine felt something close to defeat. But he did not retreat. A Space Marine never retreats. He triggered a distress signal. Across realities, something answered. The warp screamed. A larger tear opened above Earth. Drop pods descended like falling stars. Dozens. Hundreds. The Avengers stared in horror as more Space Marines emerged. Ultramarines, Black Templars, Blood Angels. An Imperial crusade had found Marvel Earth. Doctor Strange appeared, sensing the catastrophe unfolding. "This universe can't survive an Imperium invasion," he whispered. And worse, the Chaos Gods had noticed too. If the Imperium stayed, chaos would follow. Earth would become a battleground of gods. Seeing the devastation his arrival had caused, the original Space Marine made a decision no Astartes should. He turned to the Avengers. "This world is unprepared. If the Imperium conquers it, billions will die. If chaos finds it, all will be lost." Steve struggled to stand, bruised but unbroken. "So what do we do?" The Marine looked skyward. "We close the rift. Together. In an alliance no universe should ever witness, the Avengers and a Space Marine fought side by side. Thor and Iron Man held the skies. Hulk smashed drop pods. Doctor Strange sealed the warp tier with ancient magic and sheer will. The last pod vanished. The sky healed. The Imperium was gone. The Space Marine knelt, armor ruined, systems failing. His mission failed. But humanity survived. He looked at Steve Rogers one final time. "You fight, as the Emperor once dreamed humanity would." Then his armor went silent, and somewhere in the warp, the Emperor of Mankind opened his eyes. Because now, he knew this universe existed, and next time, he would not send just one.